Once upon a time we did, mate. We had to batter each other in the practice room. I shit you not.
Do you know what's hilarious, man? Because people always ask me how I got into like screaming and stuff like that, and the reality of it is that it wasn't really anything to do with music. I've got a brother who's 3 years younger than me, and like you could like punch him in the head and like kick him, and he would just laugh at you. And it got to the point where you just screamed in his ear like that, and he would cry, you know.
Yeah.
And I was just like, at the time it was great, and then as I started to get into primary school and stuff, it was like Metallica and Green Day and hearing these bands, and it was like, they're making the same noises that I did when I was like 6.
I was punching my brother in the head.
So I just kind of realised then that I was going to be like pretty decent at it, and thought, this is where I want to be. Like, fuck going and working in an office. I'm just going to scream in people's ears and make a living out of it, you know.
For me, it's not a similar story. I was living in America at the time, and I always had to pick up my sister or my dad. And like when you're young, you don't really pay attention to what's on the radio. You don't know what music is. It's just on. And then he was playing a Paul Simon song from Simon and Garfunkel, and he played a song called "Call Me Al," and it was the first piece of music that I was like, Dad, will you put on that song that goes ba-da-ba-ba, and that was the song that made me love music, and that's what the line tattooed on my arm is when people ask. So yeah, that made me love music. Paul Simon,
such a tune, man.
Cheers, me. What's his name? Chevy Chase in it. He's like, he's getting in there.
You can be my bodyguard. It started out, it was a fruitful relationship. You know, me and Harry joined the band at the same time, and Harry moved in with me for a while. And
oh God, yeah.
It was great. We were working together on the first album, like Put Your Hands, and we were sitting in the living room watching DVDs, eating Doritos, and writing the album. And I just think as the band got closer in proximity to each other, like we started to learn each other's flaws and stuff like that, and it just like boiled to the point where we were in the studio one night, and I can't even remember what happened. It's so insignificant looking back on it.
It was at a time when the whole band was friction, like it was in a period where everyone
Lewis had just left, and we were looking at like getting a new guitarist, and it just seemed like a bad place for us all. And Harry said something to me, and I was sitting up on a chair at the time, and I was like, what? And I jumped down, and like no one ever thought, like Paul was there and Dave was there, or Guitar Tech was there, and no one ever thought
everyone
like, the
was
band
there,
would come
right?
to fists. And
Kev comes over and full on just goes, what, boom, and I'm like that, and then like everyone's like, and I just lift Kev up and like dump tackle him. We're on top of each other going like piano, and like Paul, and everyone's just like, the
keyboard fucking fell, and it ended up with like Harry behind me, and he had me in a chokehold, and I just went
it was
right,
so
and we
funny,
stopped
man.
to make it up, and we just went like it was just like
shaking hands, like
thing, and
fair
I was like,
play,
right, okay.
you.
So we went for
but no one stopped us. They were too scared, I think.
The funny thing was,
they would have got one.
We went on tour with Limp Bizkit the week after that, and I had a black eye, and Harry's face was all fucked up one side, and we went for it. We were interviewing with.
I had a big scratch, didn't I? Like a Chelsea smile.
Crazy, but like I say, we lived in close proximity. We learned each other's flaws, but instead of turning to fists, we just kind of learned to deal with each other, and just like picked out the good things about each individual rather than concentrating on the bad ones. And the band's closer now than it's ever been. You know, like we feel settled as a lineup, and like for the first time in ages, like it's good vibes when we're out in the van. Like we don't have to separate people from each other anymore. And
yeah, it's good.
It's good, man.
It's good.